ask you a question. Do you have a code of conduct? Do you have a set of standards to live by? Do you know what a code of conduct is, first off? It's basically a set of values, rules, standards, and or principles. You know, when I was a kid, I used to watch this TV show called The Lone Ranger. I watched a lot of daytime shows, and because I'm old, I'm dating myself. There wasn't a ton of kids shows. My grandfather also liked Westerns, so that was something that he would watch quite a bit. But the Lone Ranger I always liked because obviously he was something very heroic about him, mystery, man with a mask, went and saved the day and stuff like that. You know, he was a fictional character, obviously, but he was like a former masked Texas Ranger who fought outlaws in the American Old West. Now, one thing, I actually went down the wormhole the other day and was just, I thought about the Lone Ranger, and I started like looking up things about the Lone Ranger. One thing is that I noticed about when I was doing research is there was a strict code of conduct that the Lone Ranger lived by. Let me just kind of go over his real quick. His were, he believes that, I believe that to have a friend, a man must be one, that all men are created equal, and that everyone has within himself the power to make the world better. That God put the firewood there, but that every man must gather and light it himself. In being prepared physically, mentally, and morally to fight when necessary and fight for what's right. That a man should make the most of his equipment that he has. That his government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall live always. That men shall live by the rule of what is best for the greatest number. That sooner or later, somewhere, somehow, we must settle with the world and make payment for what we have taken. And that all things change but truth, and that truth alone lives forever. The last one is, in my Creator, my country, and my fellow man. So, yeah, a cool set of codes. I like some of them. And the one about physically, mentally, and morally to fight necessary for what's right. I like those. I like these. And when I saw them, I thought, man, that's very cool. And I think a lot of what we see today in the world, like with men and the world, and I mean, even women, just adults, humans, we see a lack of that. We see people are entitled. People think they should be given everything, and in the military, we actually had a code of conduct as well. And a code is nothing more than an operating system, okay? It describes how you behave, engage, and show up. But our code of conduct in the military was basically how you should act in combat, and if you need to evade capture, resist while you're a prisoner, or escape from the enemy. It's the reason why you see in movies that captured soldiers, give their name, rank, and date of birth, and branch of service. But your code of conduct should be specific guiding principles that lay out how you deal with tough situations or conflict, and just how you live day to day in the world we're in. I think as adults, we should all have and make our own code of conduct or set of values to live by. Something to pass down instead of just a last name. I always hear people say, I'm going to pass down my last name. Well, pass down something more than that. Last name, any fool can do that, right? Pass down something that's actually going to help, your children, the next generations, to prosper, to have a better life, especially dealing with all the things that you've dealt with and all the experiences that you've had, right? So every conflict, every tough thing, you're giving them something that they can use to get through tough situations or to be a better person, live a more successful, fulfilling life. So how do we set up our own, right? Obviously, we need to write them down, get out a notepad, and then identify what values are important to us, okay? What ideals, what things, how you resolve conflict in your life, how did those things work out? Obviously what's important to you, maybe it's physical fitness. Maybe you're a Christian and you know, those morals written by God are great, you know, because all morality comes from God. But the other thing is that when you get these things down, look at them often to remind ourselves, right? Remind us, because we're forgetful people. We get overcome by the world. You know, we got busy lives, but just to kind of refresh ourselves, right? And, you know, the other thing is it's okay to modify those things over time, right? So don't think that they have to be, you know, carved in stone. They can be modified. Obviously, the world changes. I mean, look, if I was to take you on a time machine 15 years ago and tell your old self that the world was like it was today, you would tell your own self that you were a liar. Anyhow, guys, let me know some of your important things that you would put in your important pieces you would put in your code of conduct. And remember to always stay frosty, stay strapped, stay dangerous. Take care.